Hey guys, it's Manning here. We're gonna talk today a little bit about the last render animation I did, which was my intro video to my senior film, Night Shift. So I've got all of our Cinema4d projects here. This video is gonna specifically look at the Cinema4d projects. I've got the next one looking at the After Effects project. But here we're gonna dive into each of the different shots, kind of the reasons why I have them, the lighting setup, all the information about it. Yeah, so here's the video. Let's go ahead and dive straight in. Okay, so right here we have our first shot, and that is the infinity rotation camera shot. Very, very simple scene. We just have the single model right here, our pill bottle. We have our ground texture, and then we have our camera. And the camera is very simply animated. We just have it move forward forward in Z space while rotating full 360 degrees. Very simple, very quick and easy. So the animation for the camera is very, very simple. We just have the camera push forward in Z space while rotating slowly, and then comes to a stop. It's very, very simple. Right here we've got the, you can see this red right here is just showing me my, my frame. So this is all, the red stuff is everything that's cut out, everything that's not in red, that is what's showing you in the frame. Very, very simple and useful technique when doing very specific aspect ratio stuff for rendering. To get these red bars up here, it's very, very simple. You just have to hit Shift and V, and it'll open up your viewport attributes. Then go into View, and this is your camera perspective, everything. So your border color, you can change that. I believe it's set to black or dark gray originally. I just used red because it popped out more because I have this black ground plane. You can increase the opacity of it. I like 10% so I could see a little bit behind it. And then if you don't like it, you can always just turn off the opacity and it doesn't do anything for you. But I just had it as a quick little reference thing. So the lighting in this project was handled solely by an HDRI. This is one I got for free from Poliigon.com. I can shove that link in the description to this specific texture right here. Super great. If I were to go into Octane right now, I were to load everything up. There we go. If I were to load everything up, it's a very simple scene right here. Let's see. Cool. So we have the ground texture, and then this is the HDRI that it has. Really, really nice, very soft light. It's really, really good. And then in here, the texture for the ground was handled very specifically. So if I were to go into the mix material that I have for the ground and open up the node editor, I'm just going to pause this right here because that's going to take some time. It seems kind of intimidating, but it really is not. We have our main output mix node right here. This is just combining these two shaders. I have a glossy one that's going to kind of hold our wet pass of the road texture. It has a diffuse, it has a small displacement to it, and then we have the normal pass right here. So this is all contained into just one simple material, and then I copied it and put it in here. And this guy added a specular texture so that it would be more diffuse. And then the way that we combine these textures together is through the mix node. And you can adjust the amount of showing of each node by a noise texture. So this is a noise that was just grabbed from the regular Cinema4d. You can go in and adjust it yourself. You can, but whenever you create one of the textures, or let's see, whenever you create the noise texture, the black will reveal, I believe, the bottom, and the white will reveal the top. So material 1 and then material 2. And it's through the mixing of the noise shader that you can get the certain patches of glossiness and the certain patches of roughness or diffuse. So very, very simple. I actually just used that texture throughout all of the other shots that I did. So I just had to set this up and then copied it over for the other shots. So that was shot number 1, very simple animation. Lighting is super simple and all of that. So let's go over to number 2. So number 2 has a really cool animation thing going on. So we have the same ground texture, we have the same HDRI, but the camera is rotating on a little orbital dolly kind of setup. So this right here is very, very simple to create, and it's incredibly useful. So let me go ahead and hide this guy. I'm going to hide this circle. So what you do is you create for this instance, a circle. I'm going to have it go on the X and Z plane, so it lies face down. What we want this camera to do is orbit perfectly around this central object right here, which is our pill bottle. So what we need to do is attach a camera to this circle so that we can have it rotate around this circle and point itself towards the camera. So we have our circle here. Let's go ahead and create a new camera, and then we're going to go into Cinema4d tags. I believe it's this one, align to spline, and we're going to tell it to align to this circle. Look at that. It's perfect. And if I were to go in here and animate the position, it rotates around the circle, which is great. And then we can even go in here and add some more fanciness by editing this rotation. So there could be a lot of really cool stacked animations done with that. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to go back here. So the problem with this is that whenever we look in here, we're looking at the ground. We want our camera to look straight at this pill bottle, and we can do that by using a target and a null. So I'm going to create a null. We're going to call it camera target. Boom. It's placed right in the exact center of the world in Cinema4d, so 000, the origin point. Now we're going to go back to our Octane camera, go to right click, go to Cinema4d tags, go all the way down to target. And we're going to select the camera target null as our target for the camera, which is perfect. So now as we rotate around with the spline, it stays in whatever the camera is locked to the position visually as that null, which is perfect. Well, with the animation that I have set for the pill bottle, it starts to rise. So it'll move, it'll rotate slightly and go up in the air. Well, that's great, but we want the camera to follow that. So there's a couple of ways we can do it. And you can see right here, if I pull down this null is our pill bottle. I can go ahead and rename it pill bottle. I have the alignment null in there. So what we're going to do is actually make the camera target a child of this pill bottle null. Because I applied all of the animation to this null rather than just the bottle itself, I'm able to make the null that we have targeted for our camera a child of that null, and it will stick with the animation of the, it'll stick with the animation of this null. We have the target null animating with the pill bottle, which is great. I'm actually going to go in here and adjust its specific position to go a little bit higher. We want the camera to look directly at the label. So I'm going to put it right there, and it's going to rotate up with the camera. So if we go into our view, here, let's actually go ahead and animate real quick this spline. So I'm going to keyframe this position. We'll just bring it over here. Boom. Okay. So we go in here and we can hit play, and our camera rotates and sticks with the pill bottle as it rises up, which is great. I notice that it's a little bit closer to the ground than we want, so we can just grab the circle, move it up, and it'll move up our camera as well. And our angle is still locked to the null. So no matter how high I bring this circle, the camera is still locked to the position of that null, which is great. It's exactly what we want. So now we can see a little bit of the ground right here as we rotate with the null. So that was the animation technique for that film, for that shot, and all lighting is very much similar, very much the same. Cool. Let's go ahead and move over to shot number 3. Let's see. All right. So this project, or let's see, hold on. So this shot right here is a little bit fancier, but it builds upon the exact same things as we had before. I created an arc, which is this spline right here. I'm going to hide the camera real quick. Boop. So we have this arc right here, which controls our camera movement. We locked the camera to the degree of this arc, and you can go in and adjust the radius, start angles, all of that stuff. And so we locked it onto there so that it would follow that angle. So if we progress through the animation, the camera follows this arc, and it's locked onto there. So if we go back over here, and then we also are using the same null that we did before. We have an aligned null here, and the camera is pointing to that the entire time. But as we continue through the animation, we see that the pill bottle, the lid, moves up. Ooh, I don't know why it's going so slow. Oh, I do know why. Okay, I'm going to turn these guys off. Those are the pills that are in there. They are sucking up quite a bit of power. Okay, so as we can see the animation, the pill bottle rotates and removes itself, and then the camera goes in and sinks almost into the pill bottle itself. Another very simple just adjustment, little rotation things. And we have this light here. If we go into Cinema4d and I turned off, let's see, just to double check, I turned off all of the pills that are in there just because it slows down the render visibility and everything. So if I go and do this, fantastic. I go into the camera. We have all of the camera information set up and everything, but we go in here, we go through the timeline a little bit. It starts to get really dark in here if we don't have the light, and we need a little bit more of reflection in the pills that are actually in there. And so what I did was create a null, or I created an octane light right here. I brought them just above the pill bottle. I animated its power from practically 0, and I kicked it all the way back up to whatever we needed at the time, which was 100% or 100. I'm not entirely sure what the units are there. And that allowed us to go ahead and be in there and shine a little light into the pill bottle and help us see the pills that are in there. This was also linked to the target null right here. So whenever the pill bottle, or was it? Okay, no, it's not. I thought it was. Oh, no. Okay, so it's linked to the subdivision surface, which is the, which are the pills that are in there, which is great. So another very simple setup, nothing very difficult at all with this one, using the exact same textures as we did before, the exact same HDRI. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at numbers 4 and 5. So shots number 4 and 5 are essentially the exact same thing, just one has a little bit more pill bottles in them. So I'm going to move over into 5 right here, and we can see exactly that if I get out of this camera. So looking at the scene, very, very simple stuff. We have a camera that has been animated, pushes in, and then rotates out. We have a whole bunch of clones of the pill bottles, the exact same ground texture, the exact same HDRI, and just, once again, very simple animations, but that can, when stacked together and composed properly, looks really, really cool. So the camera itself, various animations were pretty natural and chill. Start with a certain position. I wanted to have the camera off so that we don't see any of the pills yet. And then as we push into the scene, it's revealed that there are a lot more pill bottles than there were before in the previous shot, which is this one right here. So just these two lines. So like I said with the other shots, the camera is the exact same as before. Let's see, so I just took the camera rotation and then just pushed it in Z space and then rotated again at the end. Not difficult stuff at all to do, really. We're using, once again, the same soft studio light from Poliigon. One of the most important parts of this project was having a null that I could create in Cinema4d and then bring it into After Effects and have it locked perfectly with the camera movement. And I can go, and I'm going to go into this whenever I go into After Effects and talk about my composition stuff in there. But just very simply, to create a text, or to create a null in here that can be moved into After Effects as a reference point, all you have to do is just create the null. So we're just going to name this Big Null Boy. Create the null, and then move it wherever you wish in the project. So if I want it right there, that's what I want. I'm going to have the camera, I'm actually going to put it right down there. So it's in line perfectly with the center of the camera. And then you right click onto your null, go to Cinema4d tags, and you go external compositing, because you want to bring this null and externally bring it into After Effects. And that's all you do. It's very, very simple. You attach that into there, and then we'll go into how to bring the null into After Effects in the next video. So those are the simple scenes right there. To get these two large panels of pills, you just clone it in a grid array and then move it onto either side of the camera. Very, very simple. And yeah, all right, let's go into the final shot. So the final shot of this project was actually taken from a render that I did a couple months back. I used this as the kind of base mood for what I wanted the project to eventually be. And so I got all the information from that. So the modeling, the textures, I brought it into here. And these are, this is not the most incredible modeling job ever. I knew that this shot was going to be farther back and not really the focus of this shot, so I didn't have to waste a lot of time into some of the detail when, you know, creating projects for clients, or in my case, creating project for a class. saving time is very, very important. So we have, let's see. So we have two things here that are, one is the exact same as the other one, which is the text null that we're going to have for our text to be connected to and back in After Effects, and then a ground null. In the senior film that we have, there is a very important shot where we have snow coming into the scene out of nowhere. And I wanted to recreate that kind of snow through a particle system in After Effects. Well, in order to do that, we need to have our ground plane match up with the 3D scene in here. And so I just created a null that's attached to the ground and put our external compositing tag in there, and that handled that very simply. And this even here is just the exact same camera animation, just at a slight angle. So it goes in and pushes and it holds for a while. And that's our scene. So all of these projects are very, very simple, but when put together and composited together in the right way, can really do a lot for your project. So I just wanted to go in here and talk about the different techniques that I used for each and every scene and why I used it. So thank you so much for stopping by. And next we're going to head into After Effects and learn all about really cool programs and projects and plugins and stuff.